if someone is working a job right now and they're thinking of maybe like doing it on the side until they generate enough income on the side until they can transfer, would that be the best option? Or do you think that it would be better for someone to just jump in like fully into working for yourself remotely, because like at that point you invest a lot more time, so the chances are kind of higher that you get more clients? Or how would you approach it personally, or how would you recommend someone doing it?
This is a good question, and it's one that I feel gets asked a lot, and I think it's one that needs to be continued to be asked by people, because I think really what needs to happen here is you need to determine for yourself what is best for you. Mm-hmm. I have seen people who have quit their jobs like completely and dove straight into virtual assisting and been really successful. Because they had that belief in themselves. And then I've seen people who have quit their jobs too soon, dove right into it, but they didn't have the belief in themselves. And so they really floundered, and it was a lot harder for them. So I think determining, where your threshold is and where your comfort zone is, because you have to push yourself out of your comfort zone in order to start a business. It's just the way it is. You have to, no matter who you are, going and starting a business for the first time, or any new business, any new endeavor, is a little bit scary and a little bit uncomfortable, and it should be. But you don't want it to be so terrifying and so mortifying that you don't even feel like you have the capacity to put yourself into it because you're so worried about money or whatever. And that's another thing to consider, is consider where your finances are. Do you have, a couple months of savings that you could live off if it's going to take a little while? Do you have nothing and you need to be continually earning money? The thing with starting a business, any business, is it's not a instant quick win. It's not just I'm going to go out and make 10K tomorrow from nothing. It's okay, be prepared for the fact that it could take a little bit of time, learning to navigate the ropes and getting started and figuring out what you want to do. And it could take a little bit of time to make some money. So I think it's really about determining where your comfort level is and how far you feel you can stretch yourself. If leaving your job and diving straight in is the way that that you operate and how you will be successful, by all means do it. If that literally makes you want to poop your pants, probably don't do it. Find a middle ground, maybe go down to part-time at your job and then, start your business or whatever. There's lots of ways that you can work around it. Or maybe it's you still work your full-time job and you work your virtual assisting business 1 or 2 hours in the evening or on the weekend. I've seen people do it all sorts of different ways. For myself, when I first started, so I was working as a freelance photographer and I was also working as a waitress. So I was working an insane amount of hours per week. I was probably working 60 hours per week, often working 15, 16, 17-hour days. And I was working 7 days a week. It was crazy. And I started my business, and within 8 weeks, when I started my business, I also booked a one-way ticket to South America for 8 weeks later. And then, so I worked my 2 jobs, 60 hours a week. I started my business and I had a couple clients before I left on my trip, but it wasn't I was making tons of money. Mm-hmm. And then I quit both my jobs, left on my trip, and pretty much never looked back. I have had one part-time job over this span of time since I started my business. About a year ago, I was serving again, just very part-time. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I pretty much never looked back. And that's what worked for me, because I knew that I wanted to be leaving for South America in March. And so I just booked my ticket and was well, I'm going all in. I'm going to make this happen. I'm trusting that I can do this. And also, I wasn't doing it alone. I was in what is now the Laptop Freedom Program. So I had Katie's support, and I had 2 other women that were in the program with me. It was the first round that ever ran, actually, of that program, which is funny. But yeah, I had the support. And so I knew that I could figure it out. I knew that I could make it work. Mm-hmm. And by the time I left 8 weeks later, I'd had a couple clients and I had gained a little bit of momentum, and I was okay, I can really do this. Yeah. And it's just been continuing on ever since, basically.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see the full version, go to the Uncle Gold Podcast YouTube channel or watch the next clip.